Hey, good morning everybody. We are at it here again today. We're going to try to knock out a little bit more work on the forms here this morning, and hopefully by lunch we will begin pouring the first sections of this wall and the columns, so I'm pretty excited for that. Fingers are optional. Lined up. There. There we go. So we'll drill some holes here. I think I'll drill these three. We'll pull it back, get those bolts in there. We'll have to get the plastic on it. Let me drill across right there. I mentioned before, but now I'm going to demonstrate, is down inside in here. This is where the cement will be going, is you drill you some holes. So I've got me a hole saw right here, and I'm going to go down in here and I'm going to look, make sure I'm not where my bolts are. There's a bolt, there's a bolt, and I'm going to drill me some holes in here. Alright, you see that hole right there I drilled? So now you can punch in there, you can work that concrete, and you can make it start lifting up, and it'll let that air that's trapped come out as well. And you want to put more than one of these probably across. Some concrete will rise up in that hole, no big deal. When you pull your form apart, you can just chisel that back. It's going to be right where your window jamb is. You're not going to see it, so it's not a big issue ever. Okay everybody, well, I spent about 2 hours this morning getting the forms ready instead of just an hour. I just wanted to go over every little thing. I ran a level on the inside of this plywood at each location all the way around. Just started one side and just worked around, and just wanted to double check. And sure enough, I found like a place that was 1/4 inch out. Well, if it's 1/4 inch out, the next 4 foot is going to be a 1/2 inch out, you know. So those are the things that you got to look at. It's going to grow exponentially. So went ahead, hit all those little things, and just spent a little extra time kind of fine tuning, adding a few more supports here and there. Now I know some of you out there may have experience with concrete forming, and you'll say, oh, you don't have enough bracing on it or this and that. Maybe you're right, but the deal is that we're not pouring like a whole 8 or 10 foot high and a wall and columns here at one time. We're just going to pour 4 foot high at a time, and we're only going to do that even in layers. We're going to pour in the bottom maybe a couple feet, stop, wait a little while, let it firm up just a little bit but still be able to bond, pour the next layer, and move on like that. You know, I've got to draw a line on what I'm going to spend on materials on forming this thing. So, and then what am I going to do with all those materials when I'm done? So the thing is that this is the method I'm going to use, and I know it'll work out pretty good. Just don't get in a hurry. Can't say it's going to be flawless. There'll probably be a little mistake or something here and there. Things happen, you know. Nothing that can't be probably corrected. But we are ready to start the pour. What do you think? We ready? Yeah, so it's 10:15 in the morning and we're going to let this begin. Well, it's just after lunch. Everybody just came back. They're doing their first batch of cement after lunchtime. Told them that I'd rather spend the rest of the day pouring all this right here, nice and slow and easy, taking time to work it, so no honeycombing, no air gaps, no blowouts, you know, just pace ourselves, no mistakes. Everything's going nice and smooth. I want to cover a couple key points here, like the way we're going to keep reusing the same set of forms. You need stopping points. So for instance, like here where we're stopping at this this wall right here, we've got this end plate put in there. We've got it slotted with a rebar coming on through, and then when we form up here at this column, it'll be a joint right there by the column in the wall, and it's not a problem at all. Another thing on your columns, a common mistake that I've seen again, I'm not saying by everyone, but by some people, is that I've seen when the forms get pulled, that the steel will be all the way to the outside edge on the column. Maybe they didn't allow enough spacing to cover the steel. Something happened and they'll run the form right up against the steel. When they pull it, there it is, exposed. For me, I want at least 2 inches covering the steel, between the steel and the form. Inch and a half, yeah, maybe, but for me 2 inches is my sweet spot. So I'll show you here with a tape measure the 2-inch mark right here. You can see there I've got 2 inches there for my steel to be covered in, so there will be nothing exposed or sticking out once that is done. This is the wires that's holding the electrical receptacle box right there. We've got it pulled nice and tight around those, holding it. Make sure the box is level from inside, and we have the conduit tied off up here at the top, help it from being shifted also. And you can see that again right here as well. Once again, you see the outlet tied off. When you get ready to pull your forms, it's just tiny little holes that really don't affect your form boards none, and you just cut those wires loose. Now I'm gonna tell you something. My home that I built when I was in my 20s back in the US, the one that's there now, I was in my 20s when I built that. I had no experience home building. I built it, raised my daughters in it. I've lived in it for years. I've rented it out for years. Was it a failure? Not by any means. Is it the way I wanted it? Not by any means either. It was a learning curve for me. It was my first time taking on a really big building project. It was my own home, a 2-story home at that, right? I built all of that, you know, probably 85% alone, and it's got flaws. I mean, it's got flaws for real. I'm not going to deny it. But I've done a lot of building through the years after then. I've learned a lot from hard knocks, a lot. I mean, I am definitely a case of school of hard knocks. That's why, like, for instance, some of you viewers know who Jason Crocker is out there, and Jason's building himself a tiny home, off-grid, whatever he wants to call it there. He's building his own first little home himself. And I support him. It reminds me of my youth, building my first house there for my family and kids, and I made mistakes, you know. There's mistakes through the years I've had to go back in and tear back in and correct, and it's just, it's not without flaws for real. And Jason's making mistakes, but he's learning from that. He is learning. He is in the school of learning right now. He's in the school of hard knocks. But the best way is just to do it. Now I want to tell you about this home. This home right here is what I have wanted for years. I've sacrificed in my life. I've always settled out for what I didn't want. And I built my house out of a lot of used materials, and just took whatever doors was available, took whatever materials was available, always making do. And I tell you what, it's my time in life to not make do. This house is not a make do house. This house is going to be right. And this will be probably my last home for the rest of my life. That's built the way that I want it. The US, the taxes are just, they're out of control. And I'm a miser. And I know it may not look like it here, but this is something I want it right. And that's why I'm hard on these guys. Because I've settled out for most of my life for something substandard. And this one's not going to be substandard. This is going to be my grand finale of building myself and my wife a home, and a home that maybe that will benefit her and her family even long after I'm gone. And so I want it right. And when I told them before, someday when I'm gone and y'all are here with this place, and you're gonna look at it and go, man, it's been here 20 years, it's been here 30 years, and I hopefully, I pray, I really pray that it's not gave them any trouble. And I just want y'all to remember me by that. So this house, I'm being hard on, without a doubt, because this is gonna be what they call forever home. Yeah, won't be my only home because we do go back to the US, but this is gonna be the one that I'm gonna show my most pride in, okay? And that's why I'm building this thing right, hands-on. I'm taking knowledge that I accumulated through the years, I'm applying it in here, and these guys should be learning this. They should learn something. They may not ever come across someone wanting something built like this again, but they too can say, you know what, I helped build that. And I hope they look at it with pride when they say it. All right, well, they are up to the halfway point, all the way around those forms now. We're gonna go back to where we started down here this morning, about mid-morning, just a few hours ago. And we're gonna back up there now, and we're gonna start coming in with another layer over the top, and finish out to the top of these. We'll rough it up a little bit on top there and have it ready for the next section to bond to it on top. Here we are at this window buck. We've been working it with a rod. You see it starting to rise up out of this hole. It'll keep sinking there, coming across. We're gonna start pouring in from the other direction now. This is the center one. You can see down in there, it's starting to rise up to it. That's why these holes are really important to be able to work this in the middle of these. This is in the bottom, which I guess you call like a seal, and this butt. So as we start filling that void between the door buck over there and this window buck, and we'll work that across with, make sure that we get to this middle one right here and it fills to the top. Water here, but it's not cement. That's working this, rising the water out of it. There you go. There you go, keep working this. We want more than just water to come out. What do you think about the first walls of your house being poured today?
Exciting.
Are you happy?
Yes, it means it's the starting.
It's rising from the dirt now, huh?
Starting of the Taj Mahal.
Kinda. Kinda is.
Oh, what is that? The Ron's mansion?
The Run's Mansion
Yes.
or the Taj Mahal.
They build for
But you know what?
love.
If you read both of those stories, they kind of had death involved with them, though. Let's skip that story. Right?
Yeah, let's
Yeah, they
continue.
both had kind of like an
Yeah.
icky part to it.
So, what's gonna be?
Yeah. Your house. That's all it is. Your house.
Not yours, ours.
Hmm. It's got to be pretty exciting, huh?
Yes,
Seeing the
it's
walls
exciting.
starting to up. Yeah.
So after that one, you're gonna dry it. Let it dry for a while, then
We'll pull those same forms up and just raise them up 4 foot higher and pour the next section of the wall. Yeah.
oh, you're not gonna put it.
Now we'll go up because see they're already all cut, already all set up for that wall, those columns. So all we have to do is just pull them up. Those boards, those ribs on the outside stay on them. Just slide the bolts out, raise them up to the top, and that bottom holes are there will go now, and where the top holes were, slide the bolts back in, tighten it back all up, and with new spacers, of course, in the middle. And then there you'll have it, ready to pour your top part of your wall. And then after that, we'll move around and reset for another part of the house, around like towards the front right there. Do it again. We're pouring part of the interior walls at the same time, not just the outside. We're also got interior walls going up too.
That's true.
It is rising up.